Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your destination for travel news and ideas. RM World Travel. Sunday morning, starting at 5 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app. It's time for Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. Talk of the Town, brought to you by Big Boy. Just get in line. It moves fast. Dakota Pharmacy and Dakota Natural Health Center. We're here to help you stay well. Trademark Realty. Peak Automotive and Service. Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store. And Silver Ranch.
Good morning, my friends. You're tuned to Talk of the Town on a chilly Monday morning on Bismarck Mandan's ice box. It is cold out there, not as cold as Saturday morning. 60 below wind chill and actual 30 below temperatures, what I saw on Saturday morning. And I had a lot of friends texting me, calling me, going, is that real? I'm like, yeah, it is. It truly is. But we're tough here, so we'll get through this. And I figured it out. Lori Hintz from Beck News joining us this morning. Lori, I actually got home Friday afternoon, sat in my truck for about 10 minutes, and went, why? Just why? I didn't want to get out of my truck because it was warm in the truck and it was cold outside, and I knew I would have to take the dogs out and spend some time outside when I got out of my truck. So I sat there and like, why do we not live somewhere warmer? I'm like, wait a minute. I like to snow blow. Florida actually came to mind. I'm like, but I like winter. I like to snow blow. I like moving snow. It's my fortress of solitude. I can snow blow for hours, and it's just me and my thoughts and some headphones on, and I love snow blowing. I'll do the entire neighborhood. I'm that guy. But I figured it out. I sat there for 10 minutes. After I made the statement, I was like, to myself, it's like, why am I not living in Florida? And I was like, wait a minute. Oh, this year's different. Usually we have an opportunity to acclimate into the stupid, crazy, brutally cold weather. But it was nice for so long, and then all of a sudden we just got smacked. So we didn't have that opportunity to acclimate. And I figured that's what it was. We just didn't have that opportunity to acclimate this year.
I couldn't agree more. I felt the same way. And we, my husband and I were driving around North Dakota on Saturday, too, in whiteout conditions and sub-zero temperatures. And we looked at one point, I looked at him like, wait a minute, why are we living here again? And we did the exact same thing, had the exact same conversation. I don't think that we're alone, actually, Steve. I think a lot of people look at themselves and like, why are... And you're right. It was the chop and the change of the season like that, where we were lulled into kind of submission, if you will, and then all of a sudden got whacked with all of the actual really frigid temperatures. We really haven't had a lot. I don't want to even say that out loud because it's like the kiss of death. But we haven't really had a lot of snow this year as compared to, of course, last year, which was, Snowmageddon. So,
well, yeah, and I'll take the snow.
It's not uncommon.
I will take the snow over the cold. I'm sure Jeff will too, because it's a good opportunity for him to sell snowblowers. But I will 100%. take the snow over the cold any day. But it has just been brutal this weekend, and it was because we didn't have an opportunity to acclimate. It was just boom, done. Speaking of weather, and you were driving around North Dakota for political purposes, and we're going to talk about that later this week on a separate interview. But today is, of course, the big day down in Iowa, and weather, they're thinking, could play a role into that as well. So you were driving around in this all weekend, just like the presidential candidates and the Republican ticket, vying for the Republican ticket, were doing down in Iowa this weekend.
And they actually have heard from the Iowans, too. The Iowans are saying basically the same thing I did all day Saturday. I was driving around like, we're hardy stock. We're used to this. We know how to do it. We know how to drive in whiteout conditions. You have one spotter who looks in front to see if there's a car, and then you look at the drivers looking at the line on the road, which can sometimes be visible, and so that's how you do it. And they know how to do that in Iowa. They've been through this before. I do not think that it is going to have a problem with, they are not going to have a problem with turnout at all. I do not foresee that whatsoever. Of course, there are always those people who are going to say, oh, you should probably, be safe and not, yeah, no. So the hardy stock of the upper Midwesterner tells you that, you know what, just bundle up, leave a little early, you'll be golden.
I tell my wife that all the time. It's like you cannot let the weather dictate 100% what you do living in North Dakota, or you'll never do anything. Many a trip taken with two wheels on the shoulder and four-wheel drive, driving 20 miles an hour down the road. But we get there. It'll take a while, but we'll get there. And you got your winter survival kit in the back of the truck. You're all good. Within
we travel
reason.
with a cooler full of food. We've got an extra propane heater with us, and a set we call it our go bags. So we've got clothes. So if we get stranded somewhere, we've got a toothbrush. It's a thing. And the thing about North Dakotans, Steve, you and I both know this. People here are resilient. They are the masters of the workaround. If things are in their way, they will figure out a way to get around it, get through the snow, do what they need to do to just go on with life. And it makes for a certain kind of person, and it does. And I think that people from other parts of the country do not have the intestinal fortitude that we do here, because we have to deal with the weather every day. And so because of that, we are used to making adjustments, finding alternatives, and we're very creative. I just have to say it. That's the North Dakota way that people really do not realize until they come here and they're like, wow, these people. And I'm like, yeah, it's because we deal with the elements, we deal with roadblocks all the time.
Well, we used to say it keeps the riffraff out, but I'm not quite sure about that anymore. We're talking with Lori Hintz from Beck News. You can go to beck.news, BEK.news. The latest with the Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline. When we come back, we're going to talk about a conference taking place this week with the Northwest Landowners Association that you might want to pay attention to. Also, a great lineup of speakers with that. And, Lori, I have this feeling that cooler that's full of food, probably not just for bad weather. You might have that in the summer, too, right?
Perhaps.
All right, sorry I outed you there.
Never travel without snacks, ever. Never
You're as
travel
bad
without
as
snacks.
my wife. This is Talking the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk. Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Biden, along with Lori Hintz from Beck News, beck.news, for all the latest in Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline. And coming up on tomorrow's program, we're going to talk with Troy Coons, chairman of the Northwest Landowners Association. They've got a conference coming up this week. And Lori, what a great lineup. I mean, it's a conference on the Constitution. So it's an educational event that they're hoping people will attend. And tell you what, going through the lineup, unbelievable list of speakers for this.
Yes, national speakers, national caliber speakers, and from all over various states of the United States. And CLE credits are available upon request for this as well, too. You can still pre-register and get in on this one, but I would highly recommend it. The Northwest Landowners Association is really leading the way in North Dakota and giving information for people in the public to learn about landowner issues. And they have always done that. They have had a lawsuit previously. They are in a North Dakota Supreme Court lawsuit currently. They've got this excellent nationally recognized speakers lineup. Lots of different things, including Mark Miller, who is the former chief of staff to South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, And he will be talking about Fourth Amendment search and seizure issues for landowners. There is Derek Broughton, who is an absolute rock star. He is from Broughton Law Firm here in Bismarck, and he is the general counsel for the Northwest Landowners Association. And he will be talking about North Dakota takings and pore space litigation, which is fascinating stuff, as well as there's an attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation named Katie Beloy, and her background is Fifth Amendment and taking claims. There are other speakers that are, it's kind of, they buried the lead, if you ask me, because at the very end of the second day, so the first day goes from basically 8 to 5, and it is in Bismarck at the former Ramkota, which is now the Bismarck Hotel. And they have the second day, then Troy Coons, who is the guy who's going to be on your show, and Trent Luce is on there, a mediator, and they will do an open panel discussion Q&A. And listed on one of the things, it says Steve King is going to be on that. Well, Steve King is the former congressman from Iowa. I have had him on my television show on No Apologies on Beck Television. He was terrific. If you want to go to No Apologies and look in the archives, you can look at his show. He was just a terrific guest. And he is the guy who has Vivek Ramaswamy's ear and is the one who actually came out and said that he was endorsing Vivek Ramaswamy because he gave Vivek all of the information about the CO2 pipeline. So that is fascinating. He's going to be a great guest. Another fellow named Mark Lapka will be there. They've got a constitutional considerations talk with Paul Henry, who is at Denlow and Henry Eminent Domain Law Firm. I mean, literally in their name is Eminent Domain Law Firm. Some really terrific speakers on this conference. The conference is called, they call it, as you say, the Conference on the Constitution. It is being put on by the Northwest Landowners. If you go to nwlandowners.com, you can get all the information about it. And I would recommend, if you are at all curious about what your rights are as a landowner, this is the place to learn that. Seating may be limited. They're encouraging people to pre-register, so be sure you pre-register today or tomorrow. The conference goes on Wednesday all day and then just the morning hours until about 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday.
You know, one of the things they're working on putting together for Thursday morning is a local issues panel. A lot of that's going to focus on Summit Carbon Solutions' proposed CO2 pipeline with some of the people I know they've reached out to, because that is a big local issue right now. I can imagine there's a lot of different facets, because what I look at when I look at these guest speakers, and remember, the Conference on the Constitution is what is being put on. So this is your rights in the context of the Constitution. A lot of attorneys here, a lot of constitutional law professionals here. So it gives you an opportunity to know your rights as a landowner. And, you know, given what just happened with the last legislative session, and those 8 bills to strengthen property rights here in North Dakota for landowners, you know, there's a little bit of an affront taking place, but people need to back up a little bit. It's not North Dakota. It's not the U.S. government, which I know Trent Luce is there, and him and I have had conversations on the 30 by 30 land grab, the 50 by 50 land grab. So I'm assuming there's going to be some of that here as well. But that's coming from our federal government. But there's a bigger picture at stake, and it's the global and globalist agenda that just does not want private property ownership. They don't feel that there should be private property ownership. And we're seeing a lot of what's going on in countries over in Europe that are taking away farmers and agriculture's rights and telling that, because they want to be able to tell them what they can and cannot produce. We're seeing a big backlash taking place in Germany right now, where the farmers and agriculture are feeling that, no, they're being attacked. So when you're looking at the carbon credit side of the carbon sequestration, I kind of look at it's like, okay, stop following the breadcrumbs. And we've got some big industry that do great work here in North Dakota, but they're picking up the breadcrumbs and they're going down a road. I don't think they completely understand the full ramifications, big picture of what going down that road means.
Right. There is a Dutch woman who is a conservative pundit. She is an activist for the landowners and for the farmers in both, her home country and also in Germany. And she was actually in Germany recently. And I'm going to try to say her name, but it is the world's longest name. It is Eva Vardingerbroek. And
okay,
Eva,
when you come across that name, just say Smith.
Well, it's the last name is spelled Vlaar, and if you put Vlaar, that's all you need to do to find her in a search engine. So VLA, and you'll find it. Eva Vlaar, VLA. Anyway, she is fascinating. She is a very interesting person. She is going there, and she's putting out videos. I've seen it on X. I'm on Twitter a lot, and excuse me. And she has these videos with these farmers, what they have done. And here was the interesting part. They blocked a road. They blocked the main road in Germany. They blocked the main core road in Germany. But you know what they did? They left a lane for ambulances and firefighters if they needed to get through. Now, this is not your typical radical, let's go stop, people going to LAX on the highway in the United States. This is not the same thing. This is people who are peacefully protesting. There's no violence. The farmers have come from all over Europe, actually. I don't know how they get all their tractors there, but they have just these massive amounts of people who are involved in this. And because they see it, and they are the warning shot for the rest of the United States of America and the rest of the world, that the globalists are coming for your land, people. That is what Ava is preaching. That's what she's saying, and she's talking to the farmers in Germany, and that's what they are saying.
So when you're looking at this in the big picture, how cognizant, because sometimes we're a little slow in North Dakota because we feel that we're insulated, and we are to a certain degree, but you have to be aware of what's going on in other places in the world. We're a global economy at this time now. We send our products all over the world. We know that if you're a producer, you could be sending products all the way around the globe. And you cannot be not cognizant of the fact that that stream works both ways. So when things are happening over on the other side of the planet, they do have an ability to make their way here. How cognizant do people need to be of what the bigger picture is? Because we see little snapshots and snippets. Fufeng was an example up in Grand Forks. Summit Carbon Solutions proposed CO2 pipeline with carbon sequestration. Another example here in the Bismarck Mandan area. We see those examples popping up, and they're getting more frequent.
I agree. It appears that is the case. It appears that there are more infringements upon people's rights. It feels like there are more infringements upon the sovereignty of their state and of their country. And in this case, in the Netherlands, in Germany, they get it. They have been so onerously put upon by their government with regard to farming. They know that their government is trying to put them out of business and make them stop farming. They know it. They are aware of it. We are not necessarily at that stage yet, as they are in the Netherlands and in Germany, because it just hasn't gotten quite uncomfortable enough. But I will tell you that as we see these worldwide farmer uprisings, and even they had truckers who joined them. Of course, the truckers in Canada were rock stars, and they rebelled. I think that this is a global phenomenon which is coming to our shores, and we better probably wake up before it's too late.
Well, and the biggest part of it, Lori, is if you don't nip it in the bud, it's give us an inch, we'll take a mile. Give us an inch, we'll take a mile. You take a look at that with private property ownership right now in North Dakota, and some of the huge tracts of lands that have been purchased by Bill Gates is one of them, and large entities across the country that are buying up agriculture land. If you don't think that makes a difference, just because somebody bought 100,000 acres somewhere else, or 1,000 acres here in North Dakota, that's land that potentially will come out of production at some point. And that makes a difference when you're looking at that next generation trying to get into agriculture, whether it's farming or ranching. At some point, that land becomes so valuable, the next generation can't get in to the family business. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Baca talking with Lori Hintz. Beck News. Don't forget the Northwest Landowners Association Conference on the Constitution taking place Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to talk with Tori Coons, chairman, coming up tomorrow morning right here on Super Talk 1270.
Talk of the
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bakken, weekday mornings starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app. Talk of the Town, brought to you by Big Boy, just get in line, it moves fast. Dakota Pharmacy and Dakota Natural Health Center, we're here to help you stay well. Trademark Realty, Peak Automotive and Service, Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store, and Silver Ranch. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken. This is Talk of the Town. Coming up next hour, we're going to check in with Runnings and find out what they've got going on. Brand new flyer came out. I got the notification on my text yesterday, so all kinds of cool stuff to talk about there. Also, happy MLK Day today because, of course, today is the MLK holiday, Martin Luther King Day, and we're going to talk about that coming up with Bill Patry in just a few minutes as well. Getting back to Lori Hintz, Beck News, beck.news. You can go to the website, all the latest on Summit Carbon Solutions' proposed CO2 pipeline, BEK.news. And Lori, some news Friday out of Iowa.
Named Mark Pitts, and he put a story out last week on KCHA in Iowa that talks about Summit Carbon Solutions filing a federal lawsuit against another county. This one is Kossuth. It's Kossuth, Kossuth County. Or hopefully, if you're from South Dakota, you can correct me if I say that, and it's Kossuth. Anyway, they have a new ordinance which wants to limit the safety risk, of course, associated with a breach of the carbon pipeline, and they want to keep the carbon dioxide pipelines in that particular county in Iowa at least 2.5 miles away from cities. The ordinance also wants them no closer than a half mile from things like houses, schools, medical facilities, animal confinements in certain public areas. And Summit argues that federal regulators, not the counties, are charged with governing the safety aspects of pipelines, and that the IUB approves their route. So it'll be interesting to see what that happens with that one. They also suspect that close to that county, Floyd County, will possibly be impacted by that Floyd County's ordinance as well because of this lawsuit.
Now, wait a minute. I want to unpack some stuff here. So first of all, this goes back to public safety. Now, we've got counties, and there's been the discussion. That's what some of the courts are deciding. That's what our Public Service Commission is going to decide a little bit as well here in North Dakota on who has some jurisdiction from a public safety perspective and the permitting side of things. Counties should have, and townships beyond that, unless they've ceded that right to the county, have the ability to make up what that routing, what that siting should look like. Now we've got Summit down in Iowa and South Dakota that's proposing that, no, these are federal regulations. Yet we've got Summit, and remember, the local jurisdiction, local control, in charge of public safety, knows best about public safety. They want to take it out of their hands and say, nope, it's federal, and the federal should have jurisdiction over it. But yet Summit, at the same time, doesn't want to wait until the PHMSA regulations, which are the new federal regulations for safety, they don't want to wait for those to come out. Interesting dichotomy there, Lori.
It is, and I think it has everything to do with the timing of what is going on. So you've got a company that is rushing to try to finally get something, ground broken on this project, and then you've got PHMSA, which is expected to come out later this summer with their new rules. And I think it is a rush to an attempt to try to get those lawsuits out and get these ordinances preempted and superseded prior to that PHMSA rule coming out.
So what's the role of the courts here? Because, and the Public Service Commission, the commission down in Iowa, South Dakota, Nebraska, again, I come back to local control. This is about local control and what's in the best interest of people locally. That's where it should lie. But are they waiting for the courts? Are they pushing the courts? Is there I don't understand the process because we're coming from a lot of different directions here. So anything that happens in the courts is going to be appealed. Are they looking at trying to do something during an appeals process? Bottom line, again, just wait for PHMSA, right?
Right. Well, there's no waiting. This project is rolling on forward. There's no waiting. They tend to lose a lot of money when you wait on projects. I know that we've had projects that my husband and I have done before, and the more you wait, the more money you lose. So that is part of the deal, and you can hardly blame a company for wanting to do that because they just want to get their project completed. Now,
Lori, I understand, Lori, time is money, and I'm a big proponent of,
yes,
because people don't have a concept. Time equates to money. There's a financial,
correct.
But not doing it right also equates to money. It's more important to get it right than get it done.
No, I concur. I understand what you're saying. I'm thinking though that there are several equations here that are going on. You've got North Dakota's Public Service Commission, which is going to, at some point shortly, I would expect, be ruling on their decision on whether the ordinance should be preempted and superseded. So that's going to come down. You've got PHMSA waiting in the wings to come down with what their safety regulations will be. And believe me, I suspect that if they do what I think they're going to do after Satarsha, Mississippi, they likely will have some more stringent requirements of CO2 pipelines after that disaster, actually after that accident. So it's a race.
Yeah, but the finish line keeps getting moved. So race for who? Because I'm looking at this from a landowner's perspective, and they're racing to try to protect their property. I'm looking at this from a municipality perspective. They're looking at it's a race to protect the public domain and protect the public. And then you're looking at from Summit's perspective where it's a race to cash in on those carbon credits, and they've aligned themselves with some industries that are looking at just the dollars rather than what the bigger picture is. Again, this comes back to getting it right. You know, I've said this all along. I don't think Summit's going to go through. I don't think it should go through. It's been done wrong, incorrectly from top to bottom. I'm not saying the next one won't go through, and the next one might be a good project. But this Summit project has been screwed up from the word go. And at a certain point, cut bait and start over.
Understood. No, I understand. And there are those also who are racing in this foot race to educate the public about what is going on. There are those who are trying to educate the public and say, listen, it's just another pipeline. We're really used to pipelines. We're good with them. And there are those who are like, no. As Brian Bittner, the commissioner from Burleigh County, says, this is a horse of a different color. This is not the same as your traditional pipelines because it involves high-pressure CO2, which is an asphyxiant, which means that people could actually not be able to breathe. And if it were released, the cars wouldn't be able to run, and you wouldn't be able to have EMS coming in. So it's kind of a different thing. And it's hard because people just don't know anything about it. All they know is that that there is a carbon. Oh, there was just a priceless John Kennedy from Louisiana, Senator quote that was just recently came out. If you look it up, you can find it. Senator John Kennedy was talking to the deputy of the EPA, I believe, and he actually asked him. He's like, "What exactly does $50 million do for lowering our carbon? Can you tell me what the actual number is that will lower our carbon capture level to?" And the guy could not answer. It was just really telling. Very, very interesting stuff.
Well, a lot to unpack. Lori, if somebody wants to follow with the latest information, what's going on with Summit Carbon Solutions' proposed CO2 pipeline, how do they follow that on Beck News?
Well, a little pro tip: there is an Oliver County Commission commission meeting coming up very shortly here that we will be talking about, and you can find everything as you said, Beck.news. BEK stands for Burley, Emmons, and Kidder counties. BEK.news, and look for Capturing America's Heartland CO2 Pipeline. It's a black logo with white letters, and you'll find it. Click on that, and you can see everything that's going on.
And don't forget about the Northwest Landowners Association Constitutional Conference taking place Wednesday and Thursday. We'll talk with Troy Coons coming up tomorrow. I'll get all the details on that. Also, we'll talk to Lori on Wednesday. We're going to talk to you again Wednesday morning. And next time you go on a road trip, I'm kind of curious to find out what Jeff packs in the cooler. So, Lori, thanks for joining us this morning. Lori Hance with Beck News. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. MLK Day. We'll find out some details on some celebrations coming up tonight. Next on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken. Good Monday morning, a chilly Monday morning. Your forecast coming up at the top of the hour right here on Super Talk 1270. Still wind chill advisories in effect for our area. Little animals don't like going out when it's this cold. Actually, coming up tonight, despite the weather, of course, big event today is Martin Luther King Day, and a very important day in the history of America. And that means we've got some events here. Bill Patry, former chair of the commission, joining us on the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you used to be the chair. Actually, the commission was put together by Governor George Sinner back in the day.
Yes, the 1985 legislature passed the holiday, and so in 1985, Governor Sinner was a brand new governor then. He appointed a commission to figure out ways to celebrate it. And so the first celebration was in 1986 at the almost new Heritage Center. And I was there that long ago, and I've been fascinated by that holiday ever since.
I'm thinking back. I can't believe it's been that long that the Heritage Center's been around.
Isn't that something?
Because that was almost brand new back then.
Yes.
Great venue, though. Great facility as well. So then as the commission's evolved over time, it's actually a nonprofit now.
Yes. In the administration of Governor Schaefer, the work of the commission as a state agency was basically fulfilled. They had appointed people. They figured out ways to celebrate that. What's the state's role in doing that? And Schaefer said, we don't need this official commission anymore. We have a holiday. We don't have a 4th of July commission. We don't. So because it was still so new, the people were on the commission at the time incorporated as a nonprofit. And maybe their vision and mine never really caught. We had hoped that there would be a system to celebrate the Martin Luther King holiday, but really, right now, it's whoever does it. And so there's local celebrations, Bismarck, Grand Forks, Fargo, but there's not a statewide plan. That was the original idea, but there's not a statewide plan. But
so at this time, though, it's just a statewide holiday.
It's a statewide holiday now without the official plan to do that. But we communicate with each other because there's lots of people who understand the significance of it. And as we'll talk about, North Dakota has a long history of civil rights.
We do. And in fact, I want to get into that a little bit right now. We hear about, Martin Luther King down south. We know the connections to Minnesota a little bit. What is that connection to North Dakota? Because North Dakota does have that long history of civil rights.
Probably the most stunning connection. And it's really based on the Lutheran Church. And I don't know the reasons they got involved, but the Luther League was big when I was a kid. And Lutheran kids had a lot of fun. And I wasn't a Lutheran, so I was kind of amazed by them.
We Norwegians outnumbered Germans at that point.
Yeah. So there was a lot of Luther League kids. And the Lutheran Church in North Dakota organized a Luther League convention in Miami Beach, Florida. That's a long way from North Dakota. They took 800 kids.
Wow.
800 kids. And they took them by train. So this train came across North Dakota, collected people. In some ways, it was kind of a wreck. The train didn't have air conditioning, and it was hot. And kids, they're very old people now, told me they would run between cars and stand in the open space between cars to cool off. They got 800 kids down there. Some pastors took their own cars, and one pastor, Marv Mutzenberger, who was at Lemon and Mobridge, South Dakota, he organized a school bus. Can you imagine in 1961 driving a school bus to Miami Beach, Florida? And he took kids down there, and they heard Martin Luther King speak. So those folks are in their late 70s. They still remember meeting King and his influence on them. Not all of them, but many of them was profound. And he was a profound person. Can you imagine in your lifetime meeting a person who later had a federal holiday named after them? That's the impact. And then in 1965, in March of 1965, King was organizing the Selma to Montgomery March. And that's now the Edmund Pettus Bridge is now a historic monument. 3 people from North Dakota went unsolicited to participate in that march, and I knew 2 of them. One was a history professor or a philosophy professor at Jamestown College, Delwyn Brown. One was Byron Knutson, who at the time was working for the railroad near Minnewacan, North Dakota.
A lot of history in North Dakota, a lot of civil rights history in North Dakota, and going back to statehood, long history there. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union studio. Now you can listen to Super Talk 1270 on Alexa.
Hiya.
Find out how at supertalk1270.com.
Goodbye.
Talk of the Town, brought to you by Big Boy, just get in line, it moves fast. Dakota Pharmacy and Dakota Natural Health Center. We're here to help you stay well. Trademark Realty, Peak Automotive and Service, Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store, and Silver Ranch. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bach, along with Bill Patry with the MLK Holiday Commission. And today, of course, Martin Luther King Day. Bill, you got a great lineup of speakers at the event today, and things kick off at 6:30 over at the Trinity Lutheran Church. So plenty of free parking. So get on over there a little bit early. And you got a great keynote speaker. We're going to talk about them coming up in a minute. But your Master of Ceremonies, what a great story.
Yes, the Master of Ceremonies is Joseph McNeil Jr. Joseph McNeil Jr.'s dad, Joseph McNeil Sr., was one of the 4 people who sat in at the Woolworth lunch counter that protested the fact that Woolworth would not serve blacks at their lunch counter, the national chain. That was their policy. They would let them shop in the store.
Spend money.
They could spend money, but you couldn't sit at the counter. So Joseph McNeil Sr., he was an engineering student. And he said, this is just crazy. He was from New York and going to college in North Carolina. And he organized that. They thought of things. They bought things at the store that they needed for their college to prove that they were legitimate shoppers. And when they sat at the counter, they were asked to leave, and they didn't. Now, they had thought this through. They were not simple people. They were not violent protesters. And that sit-in eventually changed the policy of Woolworth. Well, they served everybody at the lunch counter. Duh. But what a remarkable lineage of a person in North Dakota.
Yeah, now the other side of that, too, with the Sitting Bull connection as well.
Now, Joseph McNeil Sr. married a descendant of Sitting Bull here in North Dakota, and they have their children now are enrolled members of Standing Rock. So here we have actual royalty of the civil rights movement on both sides, Indigenous Americans and Black Americans in one family. And it's a brilliant, beautiful family. So if you get a chance to meet the McNeils, Ron His Horse's Thunder is a McNeil. He changed his name to Ron His Horse's Thunder. He was a tribal chair at Standing Rock. He worked for the National Association of Tribal Colleges, brilliant speaker, just fun people to be around, very smart. And that always inspires me. And I could, if the master of ceremony was the only speaker, it'd be worth hearing.
I agree. I'm a student of history, and I find all of this incredibly fascinating, especially when you bring things back to North Dakota and make that North Dakota connection. For me, really resonates. Keynote speaker. You guys have a great keynote speaker tonight as well.
Yes, Hamida Dakani she came to the United States as an 18-year-old girl. She's Black from Kenya and Muslim. Now she's in the North Dakota legislature. Don't that make you want to cheer? Just think of how scared you would be going to a foreign country, not knowing the language, and trying to fit in with a religion that isn't popular. So I'm anxious to hear her reflections on what it looks like. Now, it's not been an all rosy picture for her. Certainly there are people who are mean and ugly, but her faith in the North Dakota people is the same faith I have. The deep down inside, we're a bunch of compassionate people who want to give people a fair shot. That's who we are. That's who we want to be anyway. And I'm excited to listen to her comment. I sure hope she gets here from Fargo.
Trinity Lutheran Church tonight, starting at 6:30, free parking, of course. You guys have a lot of other things packaged up around this event, this celebration of Martin Luther King with Martin Luther King Day today here in Bismarck.
Yes, there's, and I'd like to thank the sponsors. The sponsors, Trinity Lutheran Church donating that beautiful space that they have. The United Church of Christ in Bismarck has been the fiscal agent for the Martin Luther King Holiday Commission, accepting funds and helping us raise money. And Walmart has been a generous donor. We'll take up a donation of people. The reason we want this to be a holiday that people can celebrate is it's really good people of all political stripes, of all nationalities, coming together to celebrate the idea that all people are created equal and are entitled to a fair shot. That's all we're after. And it's a celebration because that's what King stood for. He believed in that. He dedicated his life to that. And there's lots and lots of people, as you know, that are compassionate, deeply faithful people who want those outcomes in this state.
Celebration of diversity taking place tonight, Martin Luther King Day. You guys got some great music as well.
Yes, and I'm anxious to hear them. Historically, the Martin Luther King Commission and its events have celebrated what's the song sometimes referred to as a Black national anthem, "Lift Every Voice and Sing." It's a song that was sung or narrated at Obama's inauguration, written in 1921. And the song is majestic, and it takes you high, and then it takes you very through the low of the bloody the path we trod. Civil rights has been a struggle. It's for all of us been a struggle. And the music has been the voice of that struggle. So come here, the group, I'm not, the Colombian band La Semba is going to perform. I've not heard them. I'm anxious to hear them. This should be exciting.
Should be a good time tonight as far as people want more information or to find out, pre-register or just show up.
Just show up. Show up. There's root beer floats afterwards. Plan to stick around and talk to people. There will be vendors talking about their programs. I should have mentioned the Bismarck City Human Rights Committee has been very important to support this event. Supporting diversity is something that's good for economics. It's good for the city, and they do a nice job of that. Steve, when you were mayor, we got a nice letter from you supporting the Martin Luther King event. We appreciated all of that. So this is a community event sponsored by everybody that cares about human rights, and we certainly hope you come.
Of course, Dr. Martin Luther King Day taking place today, a great way to celebrate diversity, human rights. Now we just got to figure out how to get Norwegians and Germans on the same page.
Yes.
We might be able to accomplish something then. Taking place tonight, Trinity Lutheran Church. Bill, thanks for coming in.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Great event taking place tonight, Trinity Lutheran Church, downtown Bismarck, 6:30 p.m., celebrating and honoring the dream and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King tonight at Trinity Lutheran Church. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 12,000.
Super Talk.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Boggan along with Kev from Runnings. And, of course, if Kev's here, we're going to talk a little sporting goods. But cold weather here. By the way, you're in trouble because Brad always brings whatever the...
You're so spoiled.
I know I am, but it's not me. Rick Ryder from our sister station, US 1033, was already in here looking for
Sorry,
some jerky.
Rick.
So it's Rick. It's not me.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so...
Sorry, Rick.
Yeah.
I'll take care of you better next time.
It's Rick. So he's a little spoiled.
How we forget to take care of those who take care of us.
It's Rick. Just throwing that out there. Brand new flyer out, too. But I want to talk a little bit, since how you're in here, about some of the seasonal stuff because, oh, my gosh, it was cold this weekend.
Oh, burr.
Burr.
I mean, unbearable cold. You know, it's not like we're not used to it.
Actually, no. And I had this conversation with Lori Hintz last hour. It is because we're not used to it. I sat in my truck on Friday for 10 minutes contemplating getting out of my truck because it was warm in the truck and not outside.
Wow.
And then once I would have got out, I would have had to let the dogs out. And then, so I was going to be outside for a little bit.
That's kind of an age factor, too, though.
A little bit. And I sat there going, why do I not live in Florida? And I love snow. I love snow blowing. My quiet place. I like being outdoors. I love winter. And I figured out why it was bothering me. We did not have an opportunity to acclimate.
No,
it was,
none.
We're really nice, really nice. A couple weeks ago, there were boats on the river fishing. And
there were.
And then it was, we're kidding. Psych. It's really cold, like overnight. So we didn't have an opportunity to acclimate. So that's what it was. We didn't ease into it this year.
But we are North Dakotans, so we should understand that, okay, where we live, it's going to happen.
Well, yeah.
We're not that lucky where it goes all winter and not have a little bit.
But usually we're fairly lucky that it's not all at once.
Yes.
That's the difference.
But then look at the hindsight. We're going to get it all at once. It's going to be done and come into February and everything's going to wake up.
Actually, long-term forecast, I did talk to National Weather Service over the weekend, and yeah, they're talking 30s, maybe a 40 in the forecast over the next...
I'm all for it, but you know who we don't always believe. So let's wait to see what hits our wonderful state.
Actually, it's funny. It's snowing and they've got freezing rain and it's like right down to the Gulf Coast.
All the way down.
And those people have no clue what's going on when that happens.
I talked to some guys.
I do feel bad for them.
Yep. I talked to some guys in Texas, and I made the comment. I said, it is so cold, you go out there in 5 minutes, your eyelashes will break off. And this guy had no idea. He said, how do you live? How do you function? I said, well, I don't know. Our kids go to school.
Yeah,
we go to work. You just keep going. That's why, you know what, there's nobody tougher and better than North Dakotans.
Well, and if you got the right gear for it, you dress properly for
Absolutely.
it, you're all good
layer,
to go.
Layer,
and Runnings has got all the layers. They've got, I know one of the things on sale right now this week, the men's heavy thermal socks.
Yes.
You've got the burn products. You've got Carhartts. You've got all the cold weather gear that you can imagine you need.
We have the Under Armour. We have all that. And that's one thing that I find that a lot of people don't in their layering. And when they come into the store, we can help them understand the layering process, because if you can have all the right, but if you don't have that base layer.
Yeah, you can throw on the heavy Columbia coat or the Carhartt or whatever it is, but if you don't layer correctly, or you can cheat. And I'm not I've never
You've
done
never
this.
cheated, okay.
But you can cheat because you guys have the electric vests and the electric socks and the electric gloves and the electric stuff that's cheating, but it might be okay.
It's cheating and it's good. Just remembering with these extreme colds, though, like any functional battery-operated product,
it's not going to last as long.
It's not going to last as long. So if you're used to 4 hours, I'd cut that in half real quick.
And if you didn't layer properly, now you're at risk in the cold because you were cheating.
Exactly. And with that layering and cheating, remember too, because it happened to my wife and I this weekend, your electronics and stuff, a good layering process should include someplace for that phone of yours. Because phones exposed to this cold, it is literally minutes, and those phones are unoperational.
Well, and that's a lifeline if you're traveling.
It is.
Winter survival, make sure you got everything in the vehicle. Make sure you keep that phone warm, because if that phone gets cold, the battery dies quicker and
everything
it locks up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then to try to unlock a phone that's been locked up or goes automatically to an emergency, you got to know which button to push first, second, third, and fourth. Otherwise, that phone ain't coming back on.
Okay, so who told you which buttons to push, Kev?
A very nice young man up at Subaru. Very nice young man. He knew. He said, "Ma'am, I can help you." My wife walked in. He hit the buttons. We got our phone back up and that. But it is true, because a lot of your insulation clothing, the shell is there. But if you can get internal to keep those components warm and stuff, then that lifeline, like you said, which in our part of the country, this time of the year, it is crucial. And it doesn't matter if you're just downtown. We're talking minutes, literally minutes, without the proper protection that you can put your life into jeopardy. And we don't want that.
One of the other things, too, is a lot of people, pets this time of the year, or wildlife as well. People like to feed the birds.
Yep.
You've got some things on sale for augmenting some of that.
Yes.
If you're going to attract some of that wildlife into your yard so that you can watch them, it's very important this time of the year to take care of them and maybe throw a little extra out there, because they need it for the warmth.
Especially the high proteins, just like we do. We need those high proteins. These critters that we're feeding and are cool and are pretty and are cute, they're struggling. So they need that protein too. And giving them those environments, it might be as little as, okay, let's move the feeders out of the tree where we have them. Let's put them in under a little sheltered area. Give them that break, especially with the winds when they're howling and that bitter cold. I wouldn't want to try to walk outside very long when I'm cold. Well, they don't want to fly very far if they're cold. So give them a little extra time.
The extra protein, the extra energy, too, because, food is energy.
It is.
My dogs, when it gets this cold, they eat a little bit more.
Yep.
I give them a little bit extra, change up a little bit, add a little protein to their diets as well. Yep. So you have to be cognizant of the animals. A lot of things going on from a community involvement perspective. Runnings is always right there. When we come back, we're going to talk about the sports show, the Bismarck Tribune Sports Show, coming up right around the corner. This is Talk of the Town with Kev from Runnings. Of course, you can stop by Runnings in South Bismarck, 701 South Washington. Sponsor the show right here on Super Talk 1270.
Cold.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Without apology, The Regular Joe Show with Joe Gigante. Weekday evenings at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app. Talk of the Town, brought to you by Big Boy, just get in line, it moves fast. Dakota Pharmacy and Dakota Natural Health Center. We're here to help you stay well. Trademark Realty, Peak Automotive and Service. Runnings, your home, farm, and outdoor store. And Silver Wrench. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken along with Kev from Runnings, 701 South Washington in Bismarck. Of course, all the prices, they are at all the other running stores as well. So Runnings is a great business across a lot of great communities here in North Dakota.
All over the place.
Except Dickinson. And Brad has me throw that in because he doesn't like Dickinson.
Dickinson,
yeah,
well,
it's just
you're on your own there. You're on your own.
We kid about Dickinson. Anyway, one of the things running does is it really participates in a lot of community events. A lot of things going on in the community, fundraisers, charitable processes, things that mean something to their customers.
Yes.
That's what Runnings really focuses on. It's that family business
We care.
mentality. And members of the community that work at Runnings and Runnings likes to give back.
We do, and so it seems like you've lost that, but we never did. It's always been there. That's what drew me to this company 13 years ago. And that's why I take the active part that I do, because, we need to give back to our community at all levels. Some are focused at this area, some are in this. We're focused all through, from the agricultural side to the school kid, to the nurse, to the minister. You know what? We're here to give you the best products that we can, but we want to support you. And these different events, the sports show coming up, I just love it. And anybody who knows me and who's talked to me, they know I enjoy the sports show because, number one, it's outreach. I get to see people. I get to meet people. I get to find out what clicks. And then I get to take some of our really targeted products and say, hey, look who we are and look where we're at. And that's where I'm feeding into this year big time. We've always been a Campco product, RV camper supplies. Well, we are now going to be classified as a super center in Bismarck. We are the first of all of our stores, corporate wide. We are going to be the very first super center. So our booth this year in the main hall is going to be nothing but Campco products, everything you can imagine about. And then if you don't see it, I can get it. There's not a thing for your RV camping experience that I cannot help you with.
Yeah, that's one of the things with Runnings, too, is you guys have such great relationships with the vendors.
Tremendous.
Tremendous. You don't see a show without, hey, here's the product line from Milwaukee or DeWalt or now Campco or Carhartt or you have these relationships with your vendors because they know at these shows it pays dividends being partnered up with Runnings.
It does. Well, and the thing is with me, I use the product. I can firsthand tell you how good it is and how reliable it is. And in today's world, of course, service is everything. And boy, you just can't beat their impeccable service on all of their products and stuff, and helpful guides and suggestions and all that. So we are so excited to really join in with these guys full force. We've always been. Sometimes people forget. They come into the store and they think, well, yeah, we know they got Carhartt, and we know they got Ag, and we know they got this. They don't always make it to the other end of the building, and in the sporting goods and in the auto departments. What we can provide for our city and the people here, we want to do that. And this is one way we can show off a little bit.
I will say this, though. If you make it to the far back corner of the store, if you go into the South Washington store in Runnings, and you see a little green dot on the wall or a little target hanging up there, that might be where Kevin sights in rifles for people.
We're like, well, it's more bows than anything. But, hey, I even took care of them this year. I moved them to the back, so we're in an all-heated area. I can fix up any archery equipment. You can test it. You can flight it. You can paper. There's everything we can do. And that's just those little things that we keep adding and adding and adding to try to take care of our community. And it's not just one area. Like you said, events all over the place we help with.
So just going back to the sports show, in that relationship, so you're going to have a nice big booth there, but
yes.
What's it mean to be a super center rather than, because you've always carried the products?
We've always carried the products, we just haven't carried them all.
So now you've got access to them all.
So now we're going to have access to every part or every component that you need to have a successful weekend, month, year. Snowbirds, of course, they travel with their campers all over the country. When you go to certain parts of the country, you can have a hard time finding some of this stuff. Well, now we can take care of you before you even leave. It's there. And like I say, if it's a specialty piece, come in. Let's take care of it. We'll order it. If we don't have it in stock, we are, I would say, a little over tripling what we have now.
Wow.
In our product to help service the RVers, the campers, the tenters. I mean, because we got all access to portable toilets, to watering systems, to showering systems. We got it all. So we can help them all.
Now we're talking roughing it a little bit past what my threshold is here, Kev. So. But the camper stuff, and your relationship with Dvorak Motorsports, you guys had
been in with them.
Some
great
cool
company.
campers.
Absolutely.
Now that they've got their new location, it's a little strange not seeing some of those campers in your parking lot.
It is, and I've been telling them, you know what, let's get them back over here. We like this because
drop a couple off.
Yeah, we drop a couple off. Well, then we can show people that, you're going to get this sports show. You're going to go down there. You're going to be able to buy some really awesome stuff. But all the stuff that you're going to need to function with that thing isn't all going to be in there. Those are known as the accessories. And that's what we can help you with on that.
So Bismarck Tribune Sports Show, that's coming up right around the corner.
July, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Or I'm sorry, February 7th, 8th, and 9th. Going to be a busy weekend.
About July.
I know.
It's a ways
fishing season, and
By the way, were you one of the guys I saw on the river? I counted 12 boats.
No,
2.5 weeks ago.
Those guys up north have been pounding them all winter long, but now they're stuck. They're heading down to Mobridge because you can still get in at Mobridge.
I don't know if I'd want to be on the water
right now, but the ice fishing's awesome. Hey, I mean,
if you can find good ice.
If you can find good ice. And a lot of them little pocket lakes have been awesome around. And that guys have been doing really good. Even the Marina Bay tournament, I think this past weekend, harvested a couple dandy northern one. Big old, I've never seen a largemouth come off of that little body of water, but youngster got a big old largemouth.
Ice fishing tournament took place this last weekend.
So the fishing's going.
And the ice was packed.
It was packed.
And there were a lot of brave souls out there.
There was. I don't know how many teams they had, but I know for us to help them out, I don't know how many boxes of hand and feet warmers we gave them this year because we didn't want anybody to spoil a day by not having that protection. And that goes back to when we started the protection. So hand warmers and foot warmers and toe warmers and pocket warmers and all that stuff, we should all have those now anyways. But that there, I'm not going to have at the sports show because we're all thinking spring. And people are already thinking, I know I am about my camper and getting out this year. We just want to take care of you. And then, of course, shortly after that, 2 days after that, we got the Ag Show.
So you really don't even have to move, do you?
No, Not very far. We're almost in the same spot.
So when you talk runnings, and we've been talking about some of the H&W stuff that was clearanced out, that still carrying the product line, but they clearanced a lot of that stuff out. I know you still got a few gates, a few panels left.
We do.
At some locations. So if there's any, and boy, you talk about prices.
You won't beat the prices.
No.
And it's as simple as quick call.
Free, take it.
A quick call and say, hey, you still setting on this? Because these savings are huge, and anytime we can save some money to be able to apply to something else, the wind blowing in your window right now, feeding anything else, hey, our ranchers and farmers, they're going to appreciate that, and we're going to keep it going.
So let's talk a little bit about the Ag Show, because that's coming up a couple days after the sports show.
Yes.
And, when you think runnings, primarily that's what a lot of people think of. Runnings has something for everybody, but you primarily think about agriculture.
Right. And it is. We, of course, are known to have our DeWalt line there. That's a big one. Because with ag and with home and hobby farming and all that, you got to have the tools. You got to have the equipment to be able to fix this. So that is going to be a steadfast. Also, this year, I'm going to be there because we're in with the company Domain Outdoors, who is a leader in food plots, in building food plots lasting for game, for wildlife, not just for hunting by any means, but their product is outstanding out of Wisconsin. So they fit right in with our temperates. They fit in right with our soil levels and all that. I'm excited to be there representing Domain this year and seeing the options out there for those food plotters that want to get started, the long lasting ones, or some of them farmers and ranchers that have some extra space. Think, you know what? I really want to help the birds out. I want to help the wildlife out. Come and see me, and I got some product here that you'll love, and it's so simple.
We don't hear a lot about food plots or think a lot about food plots in North Dakota because we get so much agriculture.
Right.
So you think about Wisconsin where there's woods and you need to stick a food plot someplace, or down in Texas you hear about food plots a lot. You don't think about that here, but if you really want to grow your hunting opportunities, your outdoor opportunities, sticking up a food plot makes a big difference.
Right, you got to give them the essentials.
The right place, the right minerals, everything. If you want those horns to get up to where you want those horns to harvest that animal,
my best friend and I have been doing this for years and years and years, and we saw the growth, sadly, of course, over the last 2 years, and all the unexpected kill-off that dampened it, but we're still going to do it. We're still going to rebuild, replenish, give these animals, give these critters food source and the right calciums, the right proteins, the right amino acids, just helping them along to become stronger and be able to last the stuff that we're dealing with right now.
A lot coming up, runnings, giving back to the community, both the sports show coming up right around the corner, also the Ag Show right after that. Runnings will be there for both of those, and I want to talk about hunting opportunities because we'd be a little remiss if we weren't talking some outdoor stuff and some sporting goods with Kev, and there's some pretty good opportunities out there right now, especially for some predator hunting. We'll find out about that coming up next. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
70.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bike along with Kev from Runnings, Sporting Goods Department. And, Kev, right now you can stop by Runnings and see Kev. He can hook you up with all kinds of stuff. But right now, big season, we're starting to get into the ice fishing stuff and some great things on sale in this week's flyer to get onto the ice because it's been a little bit late this year. So you have to be very careful about where you go. And like you mentioned, some of those little ponds producing very well because they're really the only place you can get onto safe ice.
They are. Last year we had that because we had too much snow. This year, because of the late temperate weather and stuff. Yeah, you got some sure ice out there. I mean, that's the first thing.
Well,
Check that ice.
Yeah, even still, just because it looks good, because we're making ice right now. Part of the problem was that thaw, cool,
Yes.
that thaw-free cycle doesn't make good ice.
It does not make good ice.
You can
at
have
all.
thick ice that's not very safe. So, safety supplies, Running says a full line of all the safety gear you need to get out there.
And safety hooks are the first thing that I tell people, especially those who come in wanting to try the sport, learning the sport. Get them safety hooks. I mean, those things, they wrap them around your neck. They could truly be, for under a $10 product, could save your life because of the thin ices. The other thing we have is fresh water coming into these waters. That water never freezes. It may look it, but you hit a spring and you're underneath real quick, and that kind of goes back to the clothing line too, because we got a lot of ice fishing clothing that is floatable, that is waterproof, that will still keep you warm even when it gets wet. So all that gear, but bait, by tackle, ice houses, augers, and that, I'm loaded. I mean, we've got it there for you at all levels that you need.
The other thing, this time of the year, it's been warm so long, and now with this cold snap, really some good opportunities out there for predator hunting.
Oh, predator hunting is phenomenal.
Coyotes right now. I've talked to more people that are knocking some serious numbers down. And we've got big numbers. So if you want to go out and help farmers and ranchers, and if you're an outdoorsman, a lot of people don't think about, hey, pheasant season ended, or I'm out of my deer stand. Look into the opportunities to get out there and do some predator hunting, because you're helping yourself and you're helping the landowners.
You're helping landowners. And right now, what we're hearing is these critters are coming right up to their doorsteps, and especially recently with this weather. I mean, they're out there. They are a need-to-control species because they can do a lot of damage here. Numbers come in, like I was just telling you earlier, gentlemen come in and one calling, they had 13 dogs come into one sit. That was just mind-blowing. But they're that almost desperate at this point to get what they need to sustain themselves, going back to earlier in the radio talk, sustaining. They help a lot, but their numbers are great. And if you want to start something fun and different, try the varmint hunting. Come in, talk to us, and you can get in at a relatively low expense. You don't need all this fandango equipment and stuff to get started. Some of your best callers still do it all by mouth. They don't do the electronics. I got them, and make it easy for you, but by mouth, by hand squeakers, and that. I mean, it's just a whole different, excited type of hunting.
It's a pretty simple sport, but you're also hunting some of those predators, some of those varmints that they're a little smart side.
They're very smart.
They learn patterns.
Yes, they do.
Changing it up makes a huge difference. So if you're doing the hand calls or doing some of the mouth calls, doing the electronic, it's sometimes you have to change that up as well, and maybe the all of the above approach works a little better.
Well, and sometimes it does, and that's what's nice with the Fox Pro line. I mean, one of the best electronic lines out there as far as I'm concerned. And people say, well, why do I need 300 different sounds? Well, they get educated. They get smart.
They do.
You throw different things. I'm a huge turkey hunter. One of my best locators for turkey hunting is a peacock call. We don't have peacocks in North Dakota, but I tell you what.
Not true. I know a farmer by Emerado that has Emerado, North Dakota, up by the Grand Forks Air Force Base.
All right, there's one.
He's got peacocks. And they are noisy.
They are noisy, but I tell you what, you want to locate a spring tom, boy, he's gonna shock gobble to that thing in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
I did not know that.
Oh, absolutely.
A little trick of the trade for spring turkey.
I've done them all.
Wow. Peacocks.
Yeah, peacocks. It works great. Well, they all know the crows. They all know the blackbirds. They all know that. Throw something out there that is just a screaming.
They're curious.
I know some guys that will use a yote hauler because it's a shock gobble they're getting on that case.
If you want to find out more about the outdoors, some of the product line out there, go see Kev at Runnings, 701 South Washington in Bismarck. This is Talk of the Town. Kev, thanks for coming in.
Oh, awesome time as always.
Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.